Bonjour tout le monde. Good afternoon, everyone, and thanks for joining us. And welcome to Guelph. I want to begin today by acknowledging that Guelph is home to many First Nation, Inuit, and Métis peoples, and I'm grateful to be meeting on the ancestral lands of the Adirondack, the Haudenosaunee, and the Anishinaabeg peoples. And also want to acknowledge that these are the Treaty 3 lands of the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation. I also want to take a moment to reaffirm the Green Party's commitment to the truth and reconciliation process. The horrific discovery of unmarked graves in British Columbia and Saskatchewan, and likely sometime in the near future in Ontario, just is a stark reminder of the colonial past and present that exists in Canada, and our commitment to dismantling colonial structures and systemic racism in our country and in our province. I'm so excited today to be welcoming leader of the Green Party of Canada, Annamie Paul, to Guelph. We need Annamie's strong, fearless voice in Ottawa. That's exactly what Canada needs. And I'll be working to help get Annamie elected. And I'm so excited to have her visiting Guelph today and talking about some issues that are near and dear to my heart. And one of those is addressing the housing affordability crisis in Ontario and across Canada. You know, the Green Party of Ontario, we just released a visionary paper to address the housing affordability crisis, focused on building livable, affordable communities. And the response has been fantastic, showing how we can ensure that everyone has a right to a place, an affordable place to call home. And everyone can benefit from living in wonderful, connected, affordable, sustainable communities. And we also have to acknowledge that if we're going to address the climate crisis, we have to address the housing crisis, because the false choice between tall and sprawl is actually contributing to an increasing level of greenhouse gas emissions in Ontario. And as we build more compact, connected, and affordable communities, we create great places for people to live, and we reduce climate pollution at the same time. I also want to talk a little bit about the amazing work that's happening in Guelph to address the homelessness crisis and the connection between the homelessness crisis and the opioid crisis that we're experiencing in Ontario and across Canada. Green Party of Ontario is committed over the next decade to building 60,000 permanent supportive housing spaces with wraparound mental health and addiction supports for people in Ontario. And I'm proud to say here in Guelph, City Council recently unanimously approved a major permanent supportive housing facility, along with two other projects that puts Guelph on the path to eliminating homelessness by 2023. And one of the things that makes me so proud to be a Green is the way in which we holistically connect a variety of issues to address ways of making life more affordable and livable and better for people in our communities. So without further ado, it's my honor, it's my privilege to welcome the leader of the Green Party of Canada, Annamie Paul, to Guelph.
Thank you so much, Mike, for that introduction. Thank you so much for welcoming me. Merci beaucoup pour l'introduction. Merci pour l'accueil tellement chaleureux. C'est un énorme plaisir d'être ici aujourd'hui. I mean, it doesn't get any better than this. So I am so thrilled to be here. This is my first stop in Ontario now that the restrictions have lifted. I also want to acknowledge the lands that we are on and echo all that Mike has said. This moment in time is one of many crossroads that we have faced over the last number of years, the last number of weeks and days. The question always is, how will we respond? And is this the time that we will finally do what is necessary, what is needed in order to do the work towards reconciliation, to recognize nation-to-nation engagement, to respect Indigenous sovereignty and self-determination? Merci d'être ici avec nous aujourd'hui. I also want to echo everything that Mike has said and just tell you that it sent shivers down my spine hearing him describe the Green Party of Ontario's plan for housing in Ontario and also the incredible work that is being done here in Guelph. Because he is absolutely right, things are interconnected, and the plan that Mike and the Green Party of Ontario have proposed is exactly one that recognizes that interconnectedness, and it's one that recognizes that we are at a defining moment in terms of housing, both here in Guelph, in Ontario, and across the country. The Green Party of Canada, months ago, with the leadership of our caucus, in particular our MP Paul Manley, have been pushing for the federal government to recognize the twin crises, the twin emergencies of housing affordability and homelessness. And we've been calling on the federal government to work with us and all of the other parties to ensure that people have the help that they need, because the pandemic has made an existing crisis worse. It has put more people into precarity, and we know that if we don't respond in decisive ways soon, and frankly it's overdue, that many people will be deprived of what has been recognized as a fundamental human right by our government, by Canada, which is the right to housing. And so, as someone myself seeking to represent a riding that is ranked as one of the top 10 least affordable ridings in the entire country, a riding where homelessness and encampments are just simply a way of life for many of our residents in our community, I know how important the plan is that Mike is proposing, and I know how much it would mean to have a federal partner there supporting the efforts of a provincial partner. And this is where having Greens elected at all levels makes a difference. We can see what it means to Ontario just to have one Green elected. Imagine what it would mean to have more elected at both levels of government, working cooperatively together and working cooperatively with other parties on what should be a nonpartisan issue, which is the right to housing. And so this is again, it's an exciting moment for me. It's something that also reminds me of all the reasons that being green is one of the joys of my life. Alors, le logement abordable. Le Parti vert d'Ontario vient de juste introduire un plan d'action qui est énormément ambitieux, mais aussi praticable, quelque chose que nous pouvons mettre en œuvre. C'est quelque chose où, s'il reçoit l'appui et le soutien du gouvernement fédéral, serait quelque chose d'énormes conséquences positives. Notre parti, le Parti vert du Canada, nous avons déjà fait l'appel au gouvernement fédéral de reconnaître le fait. Et le fait, c'est que nous avons deux crises conjointes. Nous avons la crise de logement abordable, nous avons aussi la crise des gens sans abri. Ces deux crises ont été beaucoup empirées par la pandémie. Et on sait qu'on doit agir de manière urgente maintenant. Nous avons proposé que le gouvernement investisse dans le logement abordable, que le gouvernement fédéral résiste à les efforts de commodifier le logement aussi, qu'il crée aussi un plan d'action qui reflète que le logement est un droit fondamental, c'est un droit humain qui est reconnu dans nos lois. Finalement, comme nous avons dit depuis des mois, il y a des gens qui sont maintenant dans une situation très précaire. Ils doivent avoir accès à une prestation d'urgence pendant la pandémie, exactement parce que les locataires de faible revenu sont dans une situation d'éviction. We have said for many months, and I want to say it again because we haven't seen the action that we need, that those low-income renters who have been put into precarious situations, risking eviction, those who have not received any kind of rental support benefit during this pandemic, they need it urgently. If not, we risk a wave of evictions when the moratoriums are lifted, and they will be lifted soon. So I'm always excited to work with Mike. He is the leadership that we need here in Ontario. He is an inspiration to me and to every Green. I cannot wait to work with him. I cannot wait to canvass with him. I cannot wait for a year from now when we elect more Greens in Ontario, and I will be there with Mike every step of the way to make sure that happens. Thank you so much. Come on up there, Mike.
Thank you so much for that, Rosie. The first question from the ground today will be from Annamie Paul, the reporter from Guelph today. I wanted, so last time but like this time, like what do you think?
Okay, and you mean federally?
Yes,
Okay, well, we have all the chances in the world. First of all, every time Mike steps out his door, every time he stands up in Parliament, every time he proposes something or does a press conference, he shows people in Guelph what it means to have a Green representing them. And they can't help